Better than 1,000 days of diligent study is one day with a great teacher. Do you agree? Many of us had experienced or have experienced the power of a great teacher. I was the age of 10 when I knew what I wanted to become. Yes, I wanted to be a teacher. How old were you when you knew you wanted to be a teacher? Put it in the comment section. I'm looking forward to hearing your answer. I was sitting in class at that tender age, and I remember looking on at my favorite teacher and saying, I wanted to be just like her. She was so confident, she was intelligent and control of her class. So I knew as I got older, I wanted to be just like her. Now, when I did become older, I realized that she was rare. In many schools today, we have teachers and educators in institutions, but few can stand to this quote. Few are great teachers. No doubt you are here because you want to be a great teacher and you want to reach your students. So you are on the right journey. There's another quote that I have come to appreciate. It is this: it is not what is poured into the student, but what is planted that counts. Let's get that. What is planted that counts. So we have been taught, probably through training college or just from our own experience of other teaching methods, that just giving and pouring information on students is sufficient. Covering the syllabus or the curriculum is sufficient. But how many or how much of that information students really retain? How many do they apply? How many do they connect in the real world? And that's where it counts. So throughout my journey, I have a statement that I go by. It says, reach hearts to cultivate minds. Make sense? If we are comfortable with someone or an information being presented, we are likely to open up our minds to grasp understanding. Similarly with our students, when it is we engage our students, it's like their hearts are being tickled, where they are now responsive to trusting us and opening up their minds so that what we are saying can be planted within. So throughout this course, this introduction, modules 1 to 3 of mastering student engagement, we want to keep this term in mind or this statement in mind. Reach hearts to cultivate minds. Like it? I surely do. So before we can actually help our students become more engaged in our lessons, we must be able to identify the problems that they are facing so that we can address them. Some of these problems may look very familiar because in your environment to be or current environment that you are teaching in, these are some of the things you observe. 1. Students are not excited for classes. Yes, it's a reality. You give them a game, you give them laptops, you give them their phones, devices, anything but a textbook, and they will be engaged. You tell them, go out into the field, let's play football, soccer. Yes, but to sit in class, probably an issue. So students are not excited for classes anymore. And this is where we come in. And this is what this course will address. It will help us to address practical ways in how we can overcome some of these problems. Another problem is students are easily distracted. Let's be honest, at least I am with myself. I know that in school I had the attention span of a fly. It may have improved over time, but my attention span is really short and I too get easily distracted. Much more for our students. Another issue they face, or even we face as educators, is large class sizes. Because of the number of students, the number of personalities in the classes, students themselves might be distracted with the numbers and they may get lost in the sea of students. And even we ourselves as educators, it may pose to be an issue to reach the hearts of each student in these large numbers. And on top of these large numbers, we have different learning types to adapt our lessons to. How can we do that? All of these are problems because sometimes a lesson that is being taught is grasped by some, and then the manner or method in which we are using are not reaching these other students of different learning types. Because we know it. For example, I'm a visual learner. Seeing something has a greater impact on me. But then you may have students that may not learn through visual aids as some others would. Hearing, writing notes. So, our lessons must be tailored in such a way to address these different learning types. Yes, I know it sounds like a lot of work, but in this course, again, you will get practical, simple tips that can help you address this issue. Another issue that goes beyond our scope is the livelihood or the environment in which our students live. We must be honest, we have students of different backgrounds, exposed to different things at home. We are not psychiatrists nor psychologists. We are not doctors. However, when our students in front of us, for some reason, we are expected to address certain issues. Don't worry, we are not going beyond what we are capable of doing. Again, this course will help us to overcome some of these issues. And this one, infrastructure, it does not support modern technology. We have to admit, not all institutions, not all schools are equipped with the material and the instrument needed for modern approach. But there are ways that we can overcome these things as well. Let it not be an hinder and hold us back from being great teachers. Our aim. What's our aim? So before we look into the aims that great teachers should have, we must understand what is student engagement. So based on the Glossary of Education Reform, student engagement refers to the degree of attention, curiosity, interest, optimism, and passion that students show when they are learning or being taught. So, what does this mean? How can you gauge if your students are engaged? They may ask questions. They may answer your questions. Their facial expressions. Their conversations with their peers on the related topic. Their outbursts. These are different ways in which we can, as educators, look on into our classroom and see if our students are engaged. So, a silent classroom isn't always a good thing. I hope you are recognizing that. Silence may look good. It looks like you have everything under control. Your students are in the classroom, their notebooks are out, their pens are in their hands, but where are their minds? Are their minds in there with you? Or is it home, on their games, or in a conversation that they had previously with a classmate? Sometimes silence is not what we want. Yes, we want to have class management, but we do not want to restrict our students to the point of where they cannot express their interests, because that is what we are using to show if we are reaching our student. That is how we gauge student engagement. All right? So just to repeat, what is student engagement? Let's look over that again. It refers to the degree of attention, curiosity, interest, optimism, and passion that students show. They show it. And this is what we want as educators. So that's why we are now looking at the aim. Why are we aiming as great teachers to engage our students? Because we want our students to achieve true success. Many institutions today are failing our young ones. They are not allowing our young ones to tap into their capabilities. Student engagement allows great teachers to help students tap into their capabilities. That capabilities is encapsulated with the term self-actualization. So as great educators, our desire is to have our students reach that point that they can be fulfilled. This self-actualization is a big word, and we will be discussing it more. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This pyramid on the screen helps us to understand his concept or his theory. His various studies have come to identify that human beings have different needs that need to be fulfilled in order for one to reach their full potential. That includes our students as well. So us as persons or adults, and even our students who are also persons. Our physiological needs based on Maslow's hierarchy must be satisfied before we can even venture higher up on these various tiers that lead to where we want to be or want our students to be. These physiological needs are basic things. For example, having a meal. Maslow's studies and different studies have shown that when an individual is hungry, they are easily distracted in thoughts. They are more irritable. Come on. If you think about it, we ourselves, when we are hungry, some of us may become agitated, some of us are distracted, we can't function. So, students must have their physiological need, a simple meal, breakfast, or even lunchtime, to help them focus better in the classroom. Now, you may say, how am I to help these students when I don't live with them or I'm not their parent? Again, practical things we can do in our classroom can help assist in these areas. And these issues will be addressed in modules 1 to 3 in the course that I'm actually promoting now. Going on with how students are made up or persons are made up. After these physiological needs are taken care of, so you're content, then our environment comes into play. When one feels safe, they are willing to open up to those around them. Likewise, if our student acknowledges and identifies our classroom as being a safe place where they are protected physically from harm, not being bullied or teased, or where they can express themselves freely without judgment, without criticism or harsh remarks, they will feel safe. And then this would lead to now the third tier, social needs being satisfied. All of us, all human beings have a sense of belonging. We all want to feel like we belong somewhere. And though, yes, it is true that everyone in our classroom at this point in time may be on different paths career-wise, but knowing that what they have to say can add Knowing what they do is part of the whole system. They feel like they belong there. And that helps build their self esteem, their confidence in themselves, in the knowledge that they are taking in, and their ways of expressing it. This now leads way to their minds in the sense that you want it to be, where you want it to be. You want their minds to be open to your teachings, what you are helping them to understand and grasp, and compare with what they may already know and question to make certain decisions and be confident in it. They reach this point where they are thinking critically. That's where we want. That's what we want of our students. We want them to reach self actualization, that point of where they are self fulfilled and they feel like they are becoming a better student and a better person with this knowledge because they can take it over into different aspects of their lives. So, being honest with ourselves, of course, our students all won't become mathematicians if you teach maths, or they won't become geographers in my case because I teach them geography. But we should help our students to see the principles in our lessons that could be applied in different areas of their lives. So, Maslow's hierarchy of needs help us realize that students' physical needs need to be addressed to allow their minds to adjust to what we are saying for them to reach their full potential. You see why I have my statement? Reach the hearts to cultivate the mind. So Bloom's taxonomy now helps us teachers tailor our lessons to help our students reach self-actualization. To help explain, think about it. Would you prefer your students define what is the water cycle or to construct a diagram highlighting all of the main processes and components involved? Or what about writing the formula for gravity or gradient actually? And in turn, instead of doing that, they told you about an account of a hike that they went on and they demonstrate to you how every X amount of meters they increase in altitude, the slope also increased by X amount. You see, that is what Bloom is helping us to see. We all would want our student to be that one to construct a model or to give a real life experience of what they learned in your class to you. So Bloom is saying that yes, we all may tailor our work at times to hit remembering. That's where students are given facts where they have to recall and repeat, and nothing is wrong with that. But if we want our students to reach the stage of being critical thinkers, we must build on our lessons, not rush in one lesson to reach from the lowest tier to the upper one, but build on them throughout the academic term. So we can move from just helping our students remember to understanding. And how do we know they understand? Our lessons should be tailored in such a way that they should know to describe and explain and recognize these different points or concepts in different environments. And when they can apply these things that they are learning to real life situation, this is where we are knowing we are getting deeper into their minds and access to it. They should be able to analyze, connect the dots with their ideas and what we are teaching them. They should be able to justify looking at the what if situations, the why situations, not being confused with similarities, but being able to tell differences. So Bloom's taxonomy is helping us as teachers to plan our lessons with these different objectives so that we can help our students not just take in information, Sorry about that. Or where we just pour information into their heads and they retain it. But to be able to sift through, to understand, to apply, to analyze, to evaluate, and to the top tier of create something based on the principles that we teach them. That is what will help them to be real persons, real contributors to society in the future. That's what will help them to reach self actualization. Now, what's the connection, you may ask? The connection is once we acknowledge the student's makeup, once we acknowledge that we have a part to play, we will realize that our part to their minds is true student engagement. When we be able to stimulate our students so that they show interest, optimism, and they are excited about what they are learning, they will now open up their minds to accept the information that we are saying, where we can now cultivate it to the point of what can grow into a human being that is a great contributor to society. They can be self-fulfilled or reach their full potential with our aim. So this course is to help you as an educator, not just to pour information into your students, but to help plant it, help them become the best person that they can come or become in society. That's what student engagement can help you do. Be or move from just an educator to being the best educator or the best teacher. So this course is going to have 3 modules. Module 1 is emphasizing how we can have student engagement even before teaching begins. Module 2 is going to emphasize how we can get and keep students engaged during our teaching sessions. And Module 3, though short, is so important. It is one of the things that many are unable to achieve even after decades of teaching. Keeping students engaged even after teaching sessions. So if you're interested in becoming not just a teacher or just being an educator, but being a great one, subscribe. Enroll in my course to come, Mastering Student Engagement. I look forward to being there with you.